I'm back. On my beautiful homestead and out of that hospital. Time to annoy some folks with a little bit of sipping on some coffee. The lovely sounds of swallowing it, proving that it is real. Time to look over this beautiful landscape that I call home. View the nature and the beauty and the piles upon piles of well-seasoned firewood. This one particularly being white oak. And tell you a story, of course, a true story, and provide proof that angels are real because I saw them in the hospital. So I got out of the hospital this afternoon. Though I'm not going to be running around back here in the woods playing tag with my potential friends anytime soon. But no time not in the too far distance, I'll tell you that. Or it will be sometime in the not too far distance because I don't stay down for long. We are going to walk around, just see what we see or see what we hear while I tell you this story, this true story about angels that I saw in the hospital. I hear you. You vertically challenged individuals who live under bridges. You're like, dadgummit, Crazy Lake, why didn't those men in the white jackets that were hanging outside your hospital room door there, the ones with the butterfly nets, why didn't they keep you? What are they doing letting you out? Come around here on your property, back here talking about Bigfoot, Sasquatch, and yep, watch ghosts and curses and now angels. I made a couple of videos while I was in the hospital, and I appreciate all your well wishes. In the second video I made, the one I made this morning actually, as of this date of this recording, I caught something out of the corner of my eyes. It was at the 6 minute and 16 second or 6 minutes and 20 second mark. A lot of other folks caught it and they commented on it. And a lot of folks said they went back and looked and looked and looked and couldn't see it. Some of those folks admitted that just because they didn't see it didn't mean it wasn't there. For some reason, there are those who have the eyes to see and the ears with which to hear, and there are those who just don't and who can't. But that's not the angel I'm talking about. I don't know what that was. Might have been an angel, might have been an orb, might have been a piece of dust floating in front of the camera. But the first angel that I actually witnessed in the hospital was not at the hospital. It was at the ER outpatient clinic before I made it to the hospital. It was an angel named Diana, a wonderful nurse who treated me with respect and dignity and care, along with Dr. Baylor, who was on call that night at the Martha Jefferson emergency room in outpatient clinic in Charlottesville, who were kind to me, who were caring, who were quick in their actions, but who treated me like a human being, not a number, the whole time they took action in regard to my medical emergency, and who got pretty quick to the issue, discovered the problem pretty quick, and rushed me by way of ambulance to Martha Jefferson's main hospital here in Charlottesville over on Pantops. Many of you are familiar with the area. But the angels didn't just stop there at the ER with Martha Jefferson. I didn't have to wait until I got to the main hospital, 20 minutes away before I saw more. Because there were two in the ambulance with me. Scott, the driver, who drove quickly but safely, and Will, the EMS guy who sat in the back of the ambulance with me and talked to me the whole way there. And though I was in pain, I was in excruciating pain, got my mind on other things. And Will, thank you for your service. If you're watching this video, I doubt you are. I doubt he'll ever even find out, who I am and what I do. But Will was a veteran. He served in Afghanistan with the United States Army. He's a young man now in his early 30s, pursuing a career with EMS and working 72-hour shifts straight. Will was an angel. Will made, as did Scott, that what could have been a nerve-wracking trip, an enjoyable experience. It was like talking to one of my old battle buddies as we were, bragging and maybe lying about our military experience with each other, things we'd never talk about. Basically, it's one of those, oh, I did more push-ups at basic training than you did, or oh, I fired more rounds on the range, that kind of stuff. I'm a better marksman than you. I'm not saying, any sort of false valor stuff. It's just soldier talk. It felt good. It felt like being home to have soldier talk with that guy in the back of an ambulance on the way to a hospital. So there were angels in the ambulance. And then I met my first angel at the main hospital, a wonderful nurse named Karen. Karen with a K, who took me in once I got in the hospital bed, made sure I was IV'd up any more than I needed to be, and taking blood and running vitals and all these things painlessly, perfectly painlessly. I didn't feel a thing, and I wasn't on any painkillers or anything yet. And I thought, there's no way this young lady can be this efficient and proficient in what she does, because I'm not feeling a thing. She's got, like she's been doing this for 30 years, but I swear I don't think she was 30 years old. Turns out she was, because I asked her. Might not have been polite, but this coming month she will have been a nurse for 1 year. So she's new at this, but already she's putting her patients first and making sure. And she was nice and pleasant the whole time she was doing this stuff too, painlessly. Excuse me, I'm a bit parched. I know there's some of you out there who aren't going to like this, but suck it up, Buttercup. I met Dr. Eden that night, my first night there. Beautiful, figuratively and literally, woman of 62 years young, who's from Culpeper. Went to I hope I'm not embarrassing her here. She went to medical school at UVA, medical school at UVA, has been a doctor for 30 plus years, and she was wonderful. I had a wonderful conversation with her. She was doing the intake with me there in the room. And I'm just saying it as it is. She looked over at me and she goes, "Are you not on a single medication?" And I said, "No." And she's nothing for blood pressure, nothing for cholesterol. And I said, "No, nothing." And I thought, oh gosh, here it comes. Here comes the hard sell. And she looked at me and she said, "Thank you." And I said, "Why?" And she said, "For exemplifying the way we're supposed to age." And we kind of had a wonderful conversation. And I'm not pushing my values on anybody here, and I'm not judging anybody here. I'm talking about my life, my life experiences, and it was wonderful having this conversation with a medical professional. Basically, one of her pet peeves, as she explained it, was this age defying this, age defying that. And she explained to me that aging is a part of living, and it's something we're supposed to do. We are not supposed to avoid it or defy it. We are supposed to do it gracefully and in a healthy fashion, with lifestyle, with diet, with exercise. And basically, we talked about all these things and as they pertain to me. And so I said to her, because oftentimes people try to make me feel like I'm some kind of nutcase because I'm not on any medications whatsoever, nothing, no psychotropes. My cholesterol, and again, a lot of it's genetics, guys. I know you can't control some things. I like to think that there are a lot more things I can control, and I make the choice to do it, and I've done that. And as a result, she said I'm kind of like the example of how we're supposed to age. She was an angel for setting me at ease, because you're kind of made to feel like an oddball in America, especially when you're almost 50 years old and you're not on a litany of medication. If I'm odd because I'm healthy, then I will be odd forevermore. And I said to her, I flat out asked her, I said, "Am I supposed to be on something because of my age?" And she said, "Absolutely not." She goes, "If you're healthy and you don't need it, don't take it. Keep doing what you're doing." So what an angel. And that's, if anything, that was not my little pitch to judge others who do not share this health and this lifestyle. This was my pitch on, it's wonderful having confirmation from a medical profession that there's nothing to be ashamed of for having a healthy and active lifestyle. Okay. I woke up the next morning because I Well, actually, I didn't go to sleep. By the time I'd made my first video from that hospital bed, I'd been awake for 25 hours, I believe. I was in and out of feeling good because by this time they were giving me something for the pain, which was very much welcomed by me. And as Karen with the K got off shift, I met two more wonderful angels in the hospital. A young lady named China and a young lady named Catherine. I would meet a third angel that morning, one of their assistants named Milena, lovely young lady in her early 20s. Dr. Eden would go off duty and I'd meet Dr. Larza, a gentleman. He had a European accent. He was about my age and he was absolutely wonderful. He spent the time needed with me to explain exactly what was going on with me, such that a guy like me, who many of you know from watching these videos, certainly not the sharpest tool in the shed, could understand these medical issues that I was experiencing and that I have ongoing. And I will be more specific in time as I understand more, but it's basically, now, there was an event out here that day. I made that video about that. That event is not an untrue event. Situation occurred with the mangoes that day during that event of out here playing tag with the potential Bigfoot Sasquatch that may or may not live in the woods behind my house, that ended up getting me to the ER where something quite serious was discovered. And it has to do exactly with a post-war surgery I had when I got home from Iraq. I spent 6 months in the Army hospital. I had surgery while I was there, and what has come up is post-surgical issues from that surgery, even though it was 12 years ago. Unfortunately, I found out that this is something that will affect me lifelong. However, I also had it confirmed to me that I am my own best support, advocate, and team member here with lifestyle. Continuing to be active, I even talked to the doctors. I'm like, would you believe people give me a hard time because I actually still split and stack my own firewood with an axe, with a maul. They say I should either get a gas-powered log splitter and do it because they make a tool for that. And they say, why don't you use some of that YouTube money and just buy your firewood? Both doctors said, whatever you're doing, keep doing it because you are the exemplary, for your age, you're everything. You are in excellent health other than this issue, which was caused by that surgery you had in the Army hospital where they were training those doctors that weren't doctors. And it's kind of the joys of being a lower listed man in the military, which translates to guinea pig, should you ever find yourself in any of their medical facilities. Just saying it like it is. I'm not being too specific at this point, but okay, so anyway, this is about angels. This isn't about the specifics of these things yet. I met more angels, okay, today. Well, Carla came back, Carla with a K, after China and Catherine went home and woke up this morning to even more angels. Marcia and Keegan, a wonderful nursing student from JMU. Shout out, Keegan. Keegan and I talked about the hairy fellows back here a little while. I don't want to tell you too much about what Keegan said because I don't want to embarrass him should he watch this, because he said he might start watching these things. But what I will tell you is I had it confirmed through Keegan yet again that there are others in this world, and I'm not saying it's Keegan, I'm just saying there are others who believe very strongly in the very strong possibility that he, she, it, or they are out there. And not only that they're just out there, but there might just be some around here in our neck of the woods. Okay? I'm going to leave it at that for now. I'm going to give it enough time for you guys to forget that I mentioned this so that I don't embarrass Keegan. And then I'm going to share that story with you here at some point. But for now, I'm going to head back this way because there may or may not be someone or something pacing behind us up here on this ridgeline behind these trees. So you keep getting my 6. Yep, let me get back. You just keep watching, see if it moves again. While I tell you about another angel. Yes, I saw another angel in a hospital there at Martha Jefferson Hospital, which provides us with even more proof that angels are real. And yeah, that was a test. If you're seeing that right there in front of my coffee cup, that's a reflection from the sun off the screen. Guys, I don't come out here, despite what these vertically challenged individuals who live under bridges like to say, I don't come out here pulling hoaxes, wearing costumes and all this stuff. If I know it's a reflection from the sun, I point that out. That was not a reflection from the sun. This is right there on my thumb, if you're seeing it. But what was way back there behind it was not. So, I hadn't eaten for a couple of days. They started putting me on some liquid foods this morning, some broth and some Jell-O. And it wasn't bad. It was hospital food, but it was not bad at all. I would go as far as to say it was good, you know? Very impressed with everything they were doing there at Martha Jefferson Hospital. And so Dr. Larza comes back in and he pretty much tells me, look, we've taken care of these issues, which were our greatest concern when you were here. You know, the whole hose thing down my... Well, that was painful, buddy. Whew. A lot of you folks have commented that you've had it too. That was not a pleasant experience. That NG tube, they stick it up your nose, goes down your nasal passageway, into your throat, and down into your stomach. And they're running that pump to get that dried mango that I dislodged. And it was funny, I was telling the doctors, because they were telling me how healthy I was. I told them I'd recently switched my diet because I was freaking out because I'm almost 50. I'm like, I know I feel good. I know I've got an active, healthy lifestyle. I run most days, and you know, after I shower, I come out and I chop wood or I do whatever. All the horticulture around here with the trees, and they're like, keep doing that. And I'm like, well, on top of that, I decided to change my diet. And so I got off of any junk food. Not that I was ever really, I love Twinkies. I've always had a softness in my heart for Twinkies, and I love pepperoni. And yes, I saw that too. Keep watching. Let's see. Just keep watching. But I said I turned into potato chips for dried fruit. And they're like, that stuff's terrible in so many ways. It's like it can get stuck like it did with me. And if you have adhesions from previous abdominal surgeries, which is the case for me, they will make those adhesions clip off, push into other parts of your intestines, and just cause blockages. And thus, here you are. Frankly, though, I don't think the dried mango thing would have been an issue if him, her, it, or they back here wouldn't have tackled me like that after I tagged him and turned and started running back to the house. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Not that bird, but I think we got a response. So anyway, Dr. Larza tells me, look, we've got to get you to have a bowel movement, make sure things are coming out again and getting unclogged. You do that, and you can get out of here. They gave me a laxative, not a lot of one, and he said, what's your routine at home? I said, well, I wake up every morning pretty early, by 5 most mornings, 6 at the latest. I have coffee, and even though some people don't like me doing that on video, they say it's distracting and they'd wish I'd wait until after I was finished with the video to make my coffee or to drink my coffee. So anyway, and then I go. That's just, not TMI there, but I was talking with Doctor about. He says, well, you need to get some coffee, have some coffee, see if you can make that happen, and I'll release you. I was like, that's great. Well, he left, but he spent a lot of time with me. He made me feel like a human being. He made me feel like I was important and like I mattered. He was a wonderful doctor. So he left, and I thought, well, I know this institutional coffee here at the hospital probably won't do it for me because I drink the high-test stuff. I get the Starbucks. I mean, I'm kind of a penny pincher in almost every aspect of my life except for my coffee. And I splurge on that because, when I was in the Philippines for 6 years, I didn't have it. I had that 3-in-1 instant Nescafe stuff that you mix with hot water that I can tell you is not coffee. And now that I'm back in the land of abundance and plenty, I splurge and I buy Starbucks, okay? Well, they had a Greenberries there in the hospital down in the lobby. And I thought, well, I'll just go get a Greenberries. And I thought, oh no, I don't have my wallet. My beautiful bride, Dearly, a.k.a. Giggly Girl, she took my wallet. I don't know why. It's just, I think she felt like it was a way in which she could help. So she left me at the hospital without any identification or the ability to make a purchase. I made sure that didn't happen. That's not going to happen again, as I activated my Apple Pay on my smartphone as a result of this, and I tied it to one of my cards. So, and I actually was able, I'm getting ahead of myself. So I was walking out in the hallway, and I had my thing with me, my pole I was carrying where I was hooked up to dextrose, and I met another angel. Her name is Lucille, a wonderful lady in housekeeping, 61 years old. I would find out when I talked to her later. Lucille, not a common name anymore. She told me when she was a little girl it was more common. She said it might be hard for me to remember, and I said it wouldn't be because I remember the Lucille Ball Show, and that's the association I would make. She said, "Are you okay, honey?" She saw me in the hall. I said, "Yeah, I'm fine. I said, "I'm just trying to figure out how to get some Greenberries coffee down here so I can have a bowel movement and get out of here. My wife took my wallet." So I was on my phone. I was going to text Dearly to take a picture of my debit card or something and send it to me. Next thing I know, I'm sitting there on a bench. This is it was a couple minutes later. I was out in the hallway sitting on a bench. I look up the hall. Here comes Miss Lucille walking down the hallway with a cup of Greenberries coffee in her hand. Now, that's not a cheap coffee shop. They're not as expensive as Starbucks, but they're close. She comes up. She goes, "Here you go, baby. Here's you a coffee. I hope this helps." And I said, "You went down there to Greenberries and got me a coffee?" She said, "Yeah, that's what you needed, wasn't it?" I said, I don't have any money on me." She goes, "Don't you worry about that." And I said, "When my wife gets here, I will give you the money back for this." And she goes, "No, you won't." She says, "This is just an act of kindness. You take this coffee and you enjoy it, and I hope everything works out for you." I felt like crying, and I almost just shed a tear thinking about it now. Guys, we don't need to look to little bright lights floating around us to see angels. They're right there in front of us if we'll take the time to notice them. And Miss Lucille was one of just many, many angels that I saw while I was in a hospital there for a couple of days at Martha Jefferson Hospital in Charlottesville, Virginia. It just blew my mind, the kindness I received. And here's a lady, a 61-year-old woman who works in housekeeping. She's not a housekeeper. She's a woman who works in housekeeping, and there is a difference. I have never defined human beings by the jobs they do, and that's something that I think is one of, especially in America and especially among American men, that's one of the greatest weaknesses in our society. If you're a doctor, if you're a lawyer, if you're a movie star, if you're a professional athlete that's on TV every Sunday, people look up to you. If you work in housekeeping, there are far too many people that look down at you. We are not best-selling authors, and we are not housekeepers. We are people who write, and we're people who work in housekeeping. But we have that one thing in common: we're all people. And Miss Lucinda exemplified that strongly today, and it made me just, gosh, they're out there, folks. They're out there if you can look for them, if you can spot them. We all have the eyes to see these angels. We all have the ears to hear them when they speak to us, when they give us that simple kindness of doing us a solid like that they didn't have to do. I pointed out that she's in housekeeping because I can guarantee you they're probably not paying her $1 million a year to be down there cleaning those rooms. Yet she went and got me a cup of coffee because she saw that that's what I needed at that time. If that's not an angel in flesh and blood, I don't know what is. So it worked. It got the old plumbing system down there going again, and they weren't quite satisfied with my first performance of the day, and it wasn't my best performance, so I performed. But Marcia, my nurse for the day, she she told me I needed to bring my A game, so I did. I brought the A game, and I about ran everybody out of that hospital, and they said, you need to go now with a bowel movement like that. And so I was out there less than an hour later. I want to thank our friend Jenny. She's got a YouTube channel. It's called Jenny Joe. Go like it, subscribe, and watch her videos. Jenny's an angel. She's who brought me home from the hospital today. She is who really helped out Dearly and Daniel in my absence. Okay, we have amazing friends. We have friends that lost sleep because they knew I was in the hospital. We had friends offering to do us anything that we needed during this time. There are angels all around us, guys. You don't have to be able to see the paranormal, the supernatural. You don't have to be a believer in anything that you don't already believe in to see it. You just have to pay attention to the people who are in your life every day, doing things for you out of simple acts of kindness. Now, I want to point something else out about these angels, and this is meant to be political, because this was in Charlottesville, and the media loves to politicize our town, the people in this town, the people who visit this town. What I'm going to point out to you is that this entire group of angels I mentioned to you today, okay, all of them, some were black, some were white, some were Latina and Latino. One was Asian. Woman that came in to help me with billing today, who was a huge help, was Asian. Not a single one of them said to me before they did me a favor, before they did me a kindness, none of them said, well, you know, you don't have the same skin color as me, so I'm not going to go get you that coffee. You don't have the same skin color as me, or you're not the same gender as me, or you don't have the same sexual preference as me, so because of that, I'm not going to treat you with kindness. We were all different in so many superficial ways that the media wants us to focus on, but in the biggest way, the only way, as far as my focus goes, we were all human beings. Everybody recognized me as a human being first, who was in need, someone they could do a service, and someone they could pay a kindness to, and they did that without question. These people at Martha Jefferson Hospital in Charlottesville are the classiest act. Let me tell you, no offense to the people at Madigan Army Hospital at Fort Lewis, but what a different experience I had here in the private sector versus over there as a lower enlisted man where I was poked and prodded and used as a guinea pig and was not allowed to ask questions at times because of my rank versus the person's rank I wanted to question. I did not have that experience. I had a wonderful experience, and I cannot thank the angels who are living, breathing, in the flesh angels who are working at Martha Jefferson Hospital in Charlottesville, Virginia, enough for the treatment and the service they gave me over the last few days. And again, I can't thank those of you enough, the thousands of you who have come on the channel, sent me your prayers, your well wishes. Good news is it all worked out. I'm back on the homestead. I'm healthy, still fit. I will gladly be trading those dried mango chips in for my potato chips, because I've had it confirmed once again, this time by way of several medical professionals. If the fire's hot enough, the furnace will burn it. And the flames in this furnace will continue to burn. So I'm going to continue to eat my potato chips. I'm just not going to do so while running, while chasing him, her, it, or they through these woods back here anymore. I'm going to wait until I swallow. Then I'm going to go out an all-out sprint, and we're going to catch them. See you next time for more from here at Homesteading Off the Grid. And whatever, in the name of all things holy, this channel is about. I know you heard that one.